Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. We are very pleased to welcome you to the Community Live AMA with CZ. My name is Karina. I'm the moderator for today. Let's welcome our guest who needs no introduction, CZ.
Hello, guys.
Hi, CZ. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, let's begin.
Sure. Yeah, we can jump into it.
Okay, just a second. Okay, can you hear me, CZ?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. So we're going to start from the most popular and frequently asked questions on the internet. This week, we saw a big announcement with the new registration in France. So community is asking why France and why is it important to be regulated?
Yeah, I think why France is quite simple. France is it's a very strict regulator, but it's a very pro-business regulated and environment. It's pro-business, pro-crypto, and as President Macron said, they want to, 5 years ago, they want to make France a startup nation, and I think that has, worked to a very large extent. So there's a very high talent pool, and France is a G7 country with a lot of influence globally. Once France once we get a license in France, the other countries will very likely follow. So I think there's a lot of different reasons, but it's a no-brainer.
And there's also a question from Des Perry, Twitter user. What effects will regulatory approval in a G7 country will have on crypto as an asset class?
I think the clear regulations we get, the more licenses we and other crypto players have, the more basically the clarity helps us to know what to do, what not to do, and having that clarity actually increases adoption. I think there's a misconception in the crypto community saying that crypto regulations, a small portion of the users think regulations may be bad. But good regulations are good, bad regulations are bad. So I think it's great that France, a G7 country, is now giving approved by Binance.
Great, thank you. We also saw that Binance is going to help Elon Musk buy Twitter. Why is Binance involved with Elon and Twitter?
I think there's a few very obvious reasons. Number one, I think we want to help free speech. So anytime you're given an opportunity to participate in to help Twitter and Elon Musk, I think it's a no-brainer. Number two is I think there's a very strong mission alignment. I said many times before that Binance wants to invest in existing platforms that we want to help them transition from Web 2 to Web 3. And Twitter fits that bill very clearly. It's a larger user base, and we can help it to adopt the blockchain, make it more neutral. We can help to fight. We can help you to fight bots, fake news, misinformation, etc. The third reason is, most people say, look, if you use a tool, invest in tools that you use. I'm like Elon. I'm a very heavy user of Twitter. I'm on there all the time. The fourth reason, look, we want to support small entrepreneurs. So I kind of tell my friends, look, this is a small entrepreneur supporting a bigger entrepreneur. So there's many reasons. And lastly, I think we're very proud that now a crypto is used to fund can help fund platforms that supports free speech. And I hope to see more other crypto players fund more key platforms in society. So I think this is important for the industry to grow. So there's many different reasons, but for me, again, it's a no-brainer.
Great, thank you. Next question about Russia and Ukraine that continues to be a human tragedy. Binance being accused of doing too much, not doing enough. What's the situation with Binance in Russia and Ukraine?
Sure. Well, first of all, as I always say, we feel very sympathetic to this situation. It's a humanitarian crisis, where many innocent people on both sides are heavily affected. So it's really a terrible situation. There's a few principles I would like to outline. First of all, we are very much against the war. I think most people on the planet are against the war. So that part is very clear. At the same time, we're not against the people. There are many innocent people on both sides that are hurt. And third principle is we don't make sanction rules. We follow them, and we follow them relatively strictly. Well, we follow them very strictly, not relatively. Apologize for the wrong wording. And most importantly, we just want to help the people. So in that regard, we made many efforts already. We donated $10 million with the first company organization that committed to a $10 million donation. We recently just issued a crypto refugee payment Binance card, and we're funding that with $75 per user. And also, this card can allow them to transact in when the Ukrainians leave the country, and they're basically refugees in Europe. So we've just done that. We have an NFT collection for the FC Shakhtars. So that's another effort. I'm personally in contact with the Ukrainian government officials on different levels. We're looking to help at educational efforts, infrastructure build out, including broadcasting, TVs, etc. Of course, we're also helping with the crypto adoption, crypto regulatory frameworks, consulting, giving advice, giving feedback, etc. So we're doing all of those things again, and we are implementing the sanctions against the oligarchs very strictly. So all of those things are happening. We will continue to do more. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Suzy. And now we're going to individual Twitter questions. And the first is from Shoaib Mohammed. How do you see the future of crypto in countries like India with so many regulations on crypto?
To be honest, it's a moving landscape. Regulations are not set in stone. So we're seeing new regulations being made. At least the countries are recognizing crypto. The legislators, the lawmakers are looking at crypto. Sometimes there are certain rules that are made that doesn't really that may or may not be the best. So we've seen that in other places. I personally believe the tax situation may be a little bit too high. But that's just a personal opinion. But at least now we're addressing this issue. So it may be too high. Hopefully later on you may adjust. There may be other regulations in place. But at least this is now evolving. So I would say don't take the regulatory frameworks too literally. Don't view them as permanent. They will evolve over time, and let's work together to make them the best for the industry. And also at the same time, I think have a global view, because the other what other players do, what other regulators do, what other regions regulations shape up to be, will impact other regions as well. So we will see talent flock to areas or regions where the regulation is very pro crypto. And over time, the other regions will have to make themselves competitive as well. So I think that dynamic is already playing out. So I think don't take a too absolute view. Things will evolve.
Thank you. Crypto Lola is asking, crypto is supposed to be a hedge against fiat, isn't it? So why is Bitcoin following the stock market futures?
I think the fundamental reason, yes, so logically, I completely agree with that. The current reason, most likely, is because the biggest reason, I think, is the Bitcoin market cap is not large enough. So today, most people who are buying crypto, and especially the guys who are trading crypto, are also stock traders. And when they lose money on stocks, they lose money. They try to reduce their positions in crypto as well, and then so that we see this strong correlation. When crypto, and also there's an effect where, if NASDAQ or the traditional markets lose a lot of money, like that's, those market caps are much bigger. Like I think NASDAQ alone is about $65 trillion. So when that goes down, that has a dramatic effect on the whole economy, including the guys who invest in crypto. But I think as crypto gets bigger and gets more and more adoption, it will diverge. I don't know when it will happen, but I think it's really just a function of the market size. So as more and more people get into crypto, eventually it will diverge.
DeFi Farmer is asking, what are your plans towards expanding Binance and crypto awareness in Africa and in countries with way less education on crypto?
Yes, so we do a lot in education, especially in Africa. We piloted a program called Binance Masterclass. This is in addition to Binance Academy. Binance Academy is the online, open videos, articles, and Binance Academy is translated into 30+ languages. And Binance Masterclass is before COVID, it was an in-person class where the year before COVID happened, we actually ran 250 classes. So that means one class every working day. And each class was attended by 300 to 500 people. And then after COVID, we moved that to online, and it was actually attended by more people. Each class is attended by 1,000 to 2,000 people. And now we are expanding that into other regions as well. I believe I've seen a number saying that we have educated more than 600,000 students across Africa and in other parts of the world as well. So that's something we're doing, and that's something we're pushing. Education is super important, and we will continue to push that. On top of that, the Binance charity efforts also have done a lot in education in Africa. I believe the first year when the charity program launched, we helped to build about 100 schools in Africa. But these are like elementary, high schools, not specific to crypto. So but we're doing as much as we can.
Great, thank you. Next question is from Player Roger CCC. How cryptocurrencies can help peace and the environment?
Well, cryptocurrency itself is extremely peaceful. It's extremely neutral. The blockchain have no views. The blockchain doesn't attack anybody. The blockchain is always there if you want to use it. So from that perspective, the technology itself is extremely neutral. And also now, historically, or even what we've seen in the conflicts, people use currencies as weapons, and as currencies crash, etc. And people use limiting commerce as weapons. Blockchain crypto is the most peaceful thing there is. In terms of the environment, I do believe very strongly that blockchain is a new technology that's the most efficient technology for organizing organizing money transactions, operating financial services in a decentralized way. It's much more efficient, and it's much more green than any other traditional means we have. I personally do believe there's many misconceptions about Bitcoin mining being not green. But so far, I have not seen any more efficient ways of organizing a $2 trillion market. If you look at anything that's $2 trillion in size, they all use more electricity, more cost, more human resources than that. So Bitcoin is mining, I believe, is very, very green, and it's very energy efficient. And if we look at other blockchains that's made after Bitcoin, many of them are 10 to 1,000 times even more efficient. They use proof of stake that don't require mining, etc. So blockchain is extremely environmentally friendly. There's just a lot of misinformation out there. I think, again, we just need to repeat ourselves constantly and push that communication out.
Thank you. Miss Lake 2016 is asking, after co-investing in Twitter, what might be the next traditional industry to acquire?
So as I said this many times, we want to help as many traditional industries as possible. And when you're doing M&As, investments, it's not that, look, this is one industry that we focused on and we have to find a target here. It depends on what becomes available, what opportunities come up. And so we keep a pretty open mindset. Many different industries we're happy to get involved with. Now, news, social media, e-commerce, sports, even real estate, everything. As long as we feel that it's a strong business and there's a strong synergy of helping them move from Web 2 to Web 3.
IG Howard, what was your greatest challenge starting up Binance?
There's many different. When you run a startup, and especially a fast-growing one, there's many challenges. But I think today it's really just about how to find the best people and then have a structure that they can excel in organization. So I think that's I think that's probably a common problem that all the other fast-growing startups face, and that's a challenge that we still face today. So we're still growing really, really quickly, and we are hiring very, very quickly. We hire some of the best talent on our job, into our team, and then we just need to find ways to continue to make them excel and push adoption in this industry.
Craze Mike 83. Will the community be able to vote on token listing again?
Yeah, so we, to be honest, I don't think so. Not that we don't want community voice. I think we appreciate the community size and what they want. But before, when we asked the community to vote on 2 projects, it just caused us a lot of problems. Later on, I did realize that we don't want to pit one project against another. Many of the problems that we've seen in the past, when we put 2 projects head to head against each other, they communities tend to fight against each other, and sometimes the fight gets too much, and it has a long-lasting effect of the 2 projects hate each other. We don't want to do that anymore. And also with the voting, there's many other problems. There's a lot of cheating accusations. There's different ways of distributing coins for people to vote and stuff like that. So overall, I think basically we adopt a much more softer approach now. I believe our team looks at all the projects in the space, and in fact, they look at them repeatedly on an ongoing basis. So the best way to get a project listed on Binance is to build products that have users. If you have a large number of users, we will list it. Any project that have a large number of users, the exchange have to compete to list them as quickly as possible. So you want to put the exchanges in the competing position for your project. And shooting to me on Twitter, emailing, messaging, all of those things doesn't help. Just work on your project, get more users.
Zetra Wim, what was in your mind when Bitcoin crashed after you bought it in the first time?
Yeah, so Bitcoin dropped. I wouldn't use the word crashed. I think different words have different meanings. It did drop a lot, but Bitcoin has historically been quite volatile. But fundamentally, though, in my head, I thought it doesn't make sense, and especially it stayed like I bought in early 2014, and it dropped for like 60-70%. It stayed there for like a year and a half. And in my head all the time, it's like, this doesn't make sense. This is a new future technology. People are adopting it, and the adoption is increasing. Why is the price dropping? And to be honest, even today, if I look at the price of crypto, that question it comes up every now and then, every dip, every time the price drops. But guess what? Markets don't always make sense. Market is basically a mass psychology of everybody, of all the participants, and they are fear, they're greed. So markets typically will overshoot on both the high side and the low side. So markets don't always make sense. But that's what I went through my head. And later on, what I learned is when you feel that things doesn't make sense, that actually may present an opportunity. Depends. Yeah.
Hits Mima 87. Did you buy back your apartment in Shanghai that you sold for Bitcoins?
No, I did not. I think holding crypto is much better.
I am Vinya Mishra. Can we see a new all-time high in 2022?
Again, I cannot. I cannot predict markets. I'm not a very good predictor of the future. I very often do not look at prices at all. We just focus on building products. We are builders. I personally, many of our users are traders, and they think that I know the price. I'm a builder. Our team just builds products. We don't trade. So we're not very good at technical analysis or predicting price in the future. Many people do tend to think they're good at that. You can believe them or not. That's up to you. But yeah, I can't predict that.
Craze Mike 83. Where do you see Binance and BNB in 10 years?
Again, I think 10-year predictions are pretty hard, and especially for BNB. BNB is now like a community driven thing. There's BNB Chain. There's a few other things. There's many other things in the ecosystem, many projects that's building in the ecosystem, and how the ecosystem is going to evolve. I don't really know. But we want to be supportive of again, I think the fundamental principle is we want to be supportive of anyone who's building products that gets users. So if people use your product, then that means you're providing some value somewhere. For example, like if you asked me at the beginning of 2021, I probably would not have said NFTs is going to take off in a big way. If you asked me at the beginning of 2020, I probably would not have said DeFi. And if you asked me at the beginning of 2017, I probably would not have said ICOs. But all of those things took off less than 6 months later. So it's very hard to predict the markets. It's more important to realize what trends are happening and just catch on to it. Be able to execute. So we don't strategize. We don't make 10-year plans. We don't even make 1-year plans. We just, the different teams doing different things. And when you have many people working really hard on different initiatives, hopefully many of them will materialize and become successful. Then you become successful as a whole. So that's kind of how I see the BNB Binance ecosystem operate. Binance, if we talk about Binance, a centralized exchange, the road mapping for the next short term is visible. We are getting more licenses, and we are continuing to increase adoption. So we are building more bridges into the traditional financial world. And I think we'll just see the platform grow more.
David Isle, what can active Binanceans do to make easy follow them back on Twitter? That should be an article on this topic.
Actually, it's very simple. You don't need an article. Just be helpful on Twitter. Be helpful around the BNB ecosystem. Be helpful to Binance. Be helpful to other projects. Just be a positive. Be a positive force. So many times I do limit comments on my tweets because every time I leave the comments open, there's a bunch of bots and spammers, scammers. But I do look at mentions. I do look at quote retweets. Just be a contributing member in the community.
Catherine XBT, how do you motivate people to go extra mile?
I think fundamentally, you got to find passionate people. So I think that's the first thing. You can't motivate dispassionate people. So if people are lazy, that's it. So don't work with those people. Once you find passionate people, well, you have to find passionate people with a mission alignment. That means they're passionate about the same thing that you're passionate about, or you yourself should be passionate about something that other people are passionate about. Once we find those kind of people, which luckily for Binance, there's quite a lot of very passionate people in the crypto space. Many people are passionate about increasing the freedom of money, increasing access to crypto. So once we find those people, then we need to do the right thing. We need to lead by example. When you do the right thing, when you stand for something that they believe in, people work really hard. And the third thing is just give them freedom. So once you achieve the first two, you give them a lot of freedom. We are a remote first organization even before COVID. So we don't monitor how many hours people work. We don't micromanage. But the results show. You can slack off for a day, a week, a month, but after a couple of months, if you're lazy, unless you're super smart, your results will show. And then the fourth thing is really just make sure that they're working on meaningful things, to give them meaningful work, and have a higher purpose to it, and they will do really good things. So I think that's so far has worked in Binance's favor.
What keeps employees happy, in your opinion?
I think it's really mainly, as I said, meaningful work. I think for most people who are working at Binance, financially they're okay. Like everybody wants a little bit more money. They want to continue to increase, and that's normal and healthy. We like to compensate fairly, and also hopefully a bit above market. But all of that aside, the most important thing for people is they're working on meaningful stuff. And I think we are, fortunately for us, we're very lucky to be able to work on something that's very, very meaningful. I do see on Twitter very often that we have our users communities thanking us, saying, hey, look, we made an impact on their life. They were able to improve their lives because of the tools that we provide, etc. So that's very, very meaningful for us. And so we'll continue to work really hard.
elderly man fall. What is going to happen if everyone holds Bitcoin forever? What is the impact to the global economy?
Well, number one, I think if everyone holds Bitcoin forever, then the Bitcoin, then the adoption would to be able to do that, we would have to reach very high percentage adoption rates, 80 plus, 90%, etc. And to be honest, it's not possible everyone holds Bitcoin forever anyway. When you look at a mass market, when you look at 8 billion people, some people will use it as a store of value. Some people will use it to transact with people globally in different part of the world. Some people will use it to raise money. Some people will use it to buy NFTs. Some people will use it to do something else. So it's impossible for everyone to use something for only one thing. It's like saying, hey, why is not everyone buying a car and just put it in the garage? People don't do that. But the more people who host Bitcoin, the better it is for adoption, and the more sacred it makes for the remaining liquid supply. But guess what? Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. Even if everybody holds 99% of the Bitcoins, and there's only let's say in the extreme case, there's only one Bitcoin that's not held by long-term holders. That's still enough for everyone to conduct commerce. Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. So we just have to use more decimal places, and we can probably use a nano Bitcoin or micro Bitcoin. So it's fine. The more people who do anything with Bitcoin or crypto, the better it is.
Some questions from YouTube from Mark Berg. Hey CZ, if Elon asks, will you take up the Twitter CEO job?
No, I'm busy. Yeah, so I think Elon, he can be a CEO of multiple organizations. I don't think I can do that at all. My response would be, let's find somebody who's a better fit on running that type of platform.
Yadi Victor, what do you think long-term about the survival of the metaverse in the crypto industry?
I think the metaverse will survive. I'm not sure nobody knows what exactly a metaverse is. Everybody have a slightly different view or opinion of it. I think we're at the beginning of the metaverse phase. For example, if we think back in early 2000s, when we talk, there's a lot of talk about social media, but eventually, there was a lot before Facebook, and then eventually Facebook kind of ruled the market. And then, I think we're still at the early stage. I think I don't know what exactly it's going to look like. I don't think anybody really does. There are many tries, there are many experiments, there's many projects trying to shape that, and one of them will stick. And let's see, yeah.
Tom Bobadil, will Binance become more and more an alternative to banks?
Actually, I don't think so. Right now, we're working more closely with banks, so to integrate the traditional industries. But we don't touch today we actually do support fiat services in many countries, but we're not looking to be a bank. That's not Amazon's not. Well, actually, today Amazon may have physical stores, but Amazon, when they started for the first 10, 15, 20 years, they probably did not look at physical stores. That's just kind of going backwards. So that's kind of our mentality right now. It's like, look, if you just invented a car, are you still gonna run horse ranches? Probably not. So I think today we're more focused on increasing the adoption and the technology innovation on the crypto side. But we do need to work closely with banks. So we do need to integrate with the traditional financial industries. But we're not looking to expand on that side that much.
Pretty in Pink, I love your Binance polo shirt. Can I get one, please?
So all the Binance merchandise, we don't sell them. We just give them out to people who are very helpful in the community. So Binance Angels, Binance community supporters, etc. So it's never sold. We don't run like a merchandise business. And actually, the polo shirt, I actually don't know. I have not seen more of that. I think we tried to make like 2 or 3 samples, which was given to me for me to wear. I don't think we made them en masse yet, so they are extremely rare right now. But eventually, I think we're in the process of making more of them. I don't know where. I actually don't know where that is. But when they do become, I like it a lot. I think more of them are being made, and when they become available, we just continue to distribute to the people who are very supportive in our community. and hopefully you will get one too.
Victoria Mestrazes, how do you feel play to earn will expand in 2022?
Yes, so I view play to earn as a incentive mechanism, or what I call bootstrap mechanism. There's many other mechanisms like this. There's transaction mining, like you can platforms incentivize you to do transactions, either on the centralized exchange, on blockchain, new blockchains. Play to earn is a great way to attract the initial user base into your ecosystem if you're making a game. There's many other things to earn, like you can now eat to earn, sleep to earn, whatever. All of those things are incentive programs to bootstrap. But you can't do that forever if you don't have a viable business, or if you don't have a viable product. So basically, imagine the extreme. Like I like to look at when we look at this kind of things, it's easy to look at extreme cases, right? So let's say you have not a very good product. You can incentivize people to use your product. People will come for the incentives, and they will use your product while they're getting the incentives. And then as soon as the incentives go away, they will stop using the product. And you can't incentivize forever. If your incentives are always greater than your income, then eventually you're going to run out of money. And the more incentives you give out, the faster you give them out, the more supply out there, the more people sell, the selling pressure will increase, and then the token price drops. So in order for this model to work, you can incentivize new users to come in, but your product has to be attractive enough that other users are willing to pay for at least certain aspects. So you need to have a business model where you either have income or people are using your tokens more than what's being given out. If that's the case, then the supply should shrink, and you get more and more users, and then the token price will go up, and then you have a sustainable model. So I think play to earn is great, but just play to earn is not enough. You still need the product that people want to actually use.
Zafar Errol from Twitter. Where do you think NFT market is going? Will we see BNB chain NFT projects on OpenSea?
I think NFT and I think NFT markets will stay. I think we're still at the beginnings. This is probably the first 1 or 2 years of NFT markets. OpenSea has been there for around for a few years, but NFTs really only took off in the last couple of years. I think and also I think NFTs are just not limited to just markets. It's not just you put an NFTs up for sale and people buy it. We can do NFT ticketing for real events, for sports games, for shows, etc. And we spoke to many teams that where you could have a team in London that's very popular, and you have fans in Asia. And when many of them when they buy the merchandise, they're not sure if they're buying the real one or not. The fans really want to support the team, and the team wants to get the revenue from the merchandise. Using NFTs for merchant authentication solves that problem. So you can buy an NFT first, and then go to a legitimate store to claim your merchandise. So all of those, there's many new features that NFTs can do, but many of those, most people are not working on those type of features yet. I do know the BNB chain NFT teams are working on some of those features. This is where I'm basically sharing some of their ideas. So I think that will stay. In regards on BNB NFT projects on OpenSea, I think that's really up to OpenSea to integrate with BNB chain. BNB chain is an open chain. The protocol is similar to Ethereum, should be quite easy to adopt. So it's really up to them.
Question from No Bread, No Gain. Is blockchain a solution for everything? How long can crypto stay apolitical?
Two parts, right? So blockchain is not a solution for everything. Nothing is a solution for everything. Blockchain is a technology. We should use the best technology for the best things. This is like a hammer. Is not the solution to everything. Not everything is a nail. There are many things like a traditional database will work better. Faster. But the blockchain is a new invention that has a very large impact. It's the first time that we as a community can agree on a ledger without anyone controlling it. that has huge, profound impacts, and that alone is enough. So, and there's many more to blockchain technology. So we should use the technology for what is most strong in and what's most appropriate for it, and that's already good enough. There's many things. You don't, for example, you don't need to use the internet for everything. Internet is not a solution for everything. So, so that part, we should not take such a simplistic view of black and white binary stuff. But blockchain is very useful. How long can crypto stay apolitical? Crypto is always going to be apolitical. Crypto doesn't have any agendas. It's blockchain. It's blocks after blocks that's produced by the network, and they don't even they have no concept of our political agendas, etc. So it's just a tool, and the most neutral tool, most global one, is cross borders. It's not tied to any country, or at least the current ones. Since CBDCs will change that a little bit, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, they will always be out there being very neutral. So I think they will stay apolitical for forever.
Crypto resumed. Are we going to be validated in Twitter with our Binance accounts?
Not sure yet. I think we would love to see that, but again, I don't know yet. We're so early in the process, and but I think for Twitter, for the foreseeable future, it's better if Twitter remain an independent platform, and we would love to see Twitter integrating with blockchain first. Accepting crypto payments, tipping, building NFTs, etc. So we would love to see all of those things happen. And also, Twitter have some immediate problems they need to solve themselves. Bots, spam. There's a lot of scammers on there. So we would love to see all of those things being cleaned up first. But not everything's possible in the future. But yeah, we haven't discussed that far yet.
Okay, we have a few minutes left, and here, last two questions, a bit more personal. We9283 is asking, Susie, will you go to Mars yourself?
So right now, I think the technology is not quite ready yet. So when the technology becomes available, we'll reevaluate. I think I'll probably go to Mars after Elon. So that's kind of probably a good way to judge the level of maturity of that technology.
Fluffy Hedge, you've traveled so much. What's your favorite vacation destination?
I haven't had a long vacation for a while, but when I travel, I do take time off. Well, even if I don't travel, I take time off. But I'll take smaller chunks, a few hours, half a day here and there. There are many different really nice places. It's to the point where it's very difficult to say where is the most favorite. Every place have their unique advantages and attractions. So this is why I really enjoyed. So as tough as it is, I actually really enjoy traveling the world, mostly for work. But I know when I get downtime, people do bring me to nice restaurants, nice places, and I enjoy. They will do some local tours, etc. So. Dubai is a very international, very super safe, super advanced city. And, France, Paris is really good. Paris has so much culture, so many museums. Brazil, Rio is really nice. Sao Paulo is really nice. Nice climate, nice weather. So many different places. Yeah, I would say depending on what you're looking for. There's a lot of different things. I think many people try to pick one and stay with one. That's probably not the best way. We live on this one little planet. All the boundaries that we think of are virtual. They're made by humans. So you should be able to travel. We should travel to many parts of the world and experience many different cultures, many different historic sites. So yeah, I really enjoy traveling around. I don't even know which one is my most favorite one.
Okay, unfortunately, the time is up. Thank you very much, Susie, for your time. On behalf of the Binance community, we hope to chat with you soon again.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Yeah. Thanks for listening in.